Last week, registered dietitian and nutritionist Uju Onourah shared with us homegrown solutions to ending anemia in Nigeria. This week, we bring you the concluding part. Please stay tuned. Talking about absorption, I know our bodies absorb iron separately or differently. Could you explain the difference between plant-based iron and animal-based iron, as well as why adding something as simple as squeeze of lime or tomato makes a difference?
Okay, so we basically have animal-based iron sources of food, right? And then plant-based sources of iron. And then when you think about it, they are divided into heme source and non-heme. Heme being the animal, meaning that they contain more iron, and not only do they contain more iron, they also are easily absorbable by the body. So your meat, your fish, your egg, your liver, your body will easily absorb it. Now, but non-heme, on the other hand, when we talk about plant-based sources of iron, your beans, your lentils, your fonio, your millet, your joro, the sorghum, your guinea corn, all these sources, your groundnuts, your bambara nuts, which also have appreciable amounts of iron, even though not oftentimes as high as the meat, fish ones, sources, but they have appreciable sources, and it's also okay to take them. But because the body does not absorb it or absorb enough of it, so let me give a more practical example. So let's say the meat has 70% protein. Meat has chicken. Let me use chicken, right? Has 70% protein, and then beans has 70. Let's say maybe. Okay, let me not make it exactly 70. So let's say 50% protein. This is just a hypothetical example. So someone takes the chicken, right? That chicken, they would likely get total 70, or maybe at least their body will take up maybe 60-something% of the chicken, of the iron in the chicken, right? But now for the beans, right, which is we had put it at 60% total iron content, right? The body will likely maybe just absorb maybe 30 something, or at most 40. It's just the body process and how it's able to take in the iron from this source. So what can I do differently if I were to take beans? I could then, like you had even mentioned earlier, add tomatoes, which is a good vitamin C rich source. Add citrus fruits, which are like, or eat. You must not necessarily add it directly. You can eat a lime. You can eat oranges. You can eat lemon, or add them also in the food, right? To improve the bioavailability, to improve the absorption, right, of the iron in that plant-based food. So, for example, even ugu, for example, which has some vitamin C, but while not too many, you can cook it with your beans too. That's also something to consider. Your bell pepper, tatashe shombo, I mentioned it earlier, you can cook it with beans. Tatashe shombo, they have some very good appreciable amount of iron. Guava has good vitamin C. Guava has good vitamin C. You can eat beans and decide to take a guava, right? So these are things to consider. Vitamin C rich foods help the absorption of plant-based sources of iron.
All right. I know someday we'll talk about myths and misconceptions about some of these food, because immediately you mentioned guava, there is this long-held myth about guava. When you eat guava, they say you end up with appendicitis. I don't know how true is that, but we'll talk about that someday in the future. So let us quickly look at other things now, which is recommended medically. Is it also true that drinking tea or coffee right after a meal can stop a body from absorbing the iron in our food?
That's very true, especially again plant-based sources of iron.
Okay.
It's easier if it's an iron-based source of iron, but when it's plant-based sources, the compounds in your tea, in your coffee, caffeines, tannins, polyphenols, which in and of themselves are not necessarily bad, right? So it's not. I'm not gonna come out and say, oh, don't take tea or don't take coffee. No, that's wrong. That's deceptive. But when it comes to the conversation of iron-rich food, it's so critical to understand that you can wait 1 to 2 hours before meal or 1 to 2 hours after meal, or even more if you can, before you take
your meal or
your
tea.
cup of coffee, your cup of tea. So if I were to say I'm going to eat beans by 9 a.m., right, I could decide to take my coffee or my tea earlier in the morning, maybe around 6 a.m. or 7 maybe, or say, okay, let's wait till after meal and take it maybe by 12, right? So 1 to 2 hours before, after meals, preferably before you take any cup of coffee, cup of tea. If you are considering eating, most especially plant-based source of iron, and this is critically important in case someone is already anemic. If an individual is not anemic, okay, you can just you just go on with what you want to do. But if already there is an existing, case of anemia, low hemoglobin, low iron in the body, then it's really best to manage or watch or time the intake of this cup of coffee, cup of tea right after meal or a couple of hours before meal.
Oh, I hope our tea lovers are listening and ready to change all this status quo. So what is the best way to prepare vegetables without washing or cooking away the nutrients?
Okay, so I think the most common one, which I would like to think most people know, is cutting before washing. People should avoid that.
Oh,
the
really?
very best way to, when to maximize the nutrients from your vegetable is you wash your vegetables as they are, then you cut. Because if you do the reverse, that is you cut before washing, when you are washing, nutrients are going to leach out because they're already cut, and then they seep into the water that you used to wash it, and then you're throwing away the water, obviously, right? So it's best advisable you wash, then you slice, right? Slice, you cut. Number 2, soaking vegetables generally for long, it's not advisable. Please, let's avoid soaking vegetables for long. If it's possible, don't even soak at all. Just wash and get right into what you want to do. Cooking vegetables for long. In cooking vegetables, some vegetables, nutrients in vegetables are not heat stable, right? So when you cook them, the heat is destroyed. Cook them for too long, to clarify, the heat is destroying them. And then you also talk about the fact that cooking it with too much water. I don't know. Most times when you cook with too much water, especially when you're even going to throw the water away or maybe drain the water away, then it's best you cook with minimum water as much as possible. If you know you're going to take the water or the broth with the vegetable, that's totally fine or manageable. But if you're not, then cook with minimum water. The less water you drain, the better. If possible, let it be that you cook the vegetables and then you didn't have to drain any water. So to reiterate again, wash before cutting, minimize soaking vegetables in water. If possible, avoid soaking. Also consider not cooking vegetables for too long. If possible, slightly, and that is why we always say when your food is almost done, almost, we use the word done, but practically when it's ready to, go down from the burner or the cooker, that's when you add your vegetables, so that just a little heat and then you're done. A rule of thumb for me, right, as what I do personally, is to cook vegetables such that the colors do not change. If you have cooked a vegetable and the colors have changed so much, then I'm sorry, I don't know probably what you are eating, right? So it's important. That's a rule of thumb for me. So, and I also, for things like, example, okra, for example, when I cook it, I make sure that when I'm eating it, I can still feel some crunchy. So that means I didn't cook it so much. So you think about it this way, and in that way, you can maximize the best out of your vegetables and get the best nutrients.
All right, thank you. What would a simple iron-rich, homegrown daily meal plan look like for a family living on a very lean budget for you, Uju?
Oh, okay. So I think we will look at it from a place of, maximizing the plant sources, which I think are less expensive or rather more affordable, right? So typically it could be, for example, a breakfast could start with your sorghum or your millet, that's your joro or your guinea corn, which is in a pap form, right? Or preferably a pap form. And then inside it probably you have grounded some crayfish, dried fish. A little bit of it will be very, very helpful, no matter how little. But it's gonna go a long way. In between the day, you have your groundnuts, you have you have your tiger nuts. These are also very good. Then for lunch, you could consider, beans porridge, which is cooked with some tomato, with some tatache, with some shombo, or with some ugu. That's already lunch. And then you think about maybe, again, snacks, roasted groundnuts, tiger nuts, and you probably end the day with vegetables, with your bambara nuts, oba, your fonio with palm oil, vegetables. You make it into a pudding, like the way you could probably make moi moi, the beans pudding. Or you fry if you prefer, but I would preferably tell it's healthier to go the pudding route, right? You steam it preferably. And that's it for the day, really. You have gotten as much iron as you can through that day by combining mostly your plant sources with some dash of vegetables, dash of vitamin C rich foods.
All right.
And you're good.
All right, share with us a golden piece of advice for changing the narrative on anemia in Nigeria using what we already grow in our backyards. Because I know we've always been promoting local farming, homegrown farm, and all that.
I think that the conversation has to start from believing that, one, there is no one superfood that cures. I'll use the word cure loosely, cures anemia. There's no one superfood. That's one. Getting or reducing the risks of iron deficiency anemia is a combination of having a healthy diet, whether with more affordable plant-based sources, or with your more maybe slightly expensive chicken meat. So it's important to understand there's no single food. Example, people that take maybe zobo saying that it's going to help with anemia, or maybe mix malt and milk. There's really nothing like that. So it's a matter of understanding a balanced diet. That's number one.
Okay.
There's no single one food. The more diverse, and I'm using that word, is that the more rich. And rich doesn't necessarily have to be that you're eating animal sources, but rich in the sense that you are not eating same particular kind of food. So the more diverse and rich and varied your meals are, the chances and likelihood of having iron deficiency anemia is greatly reduced, because you're getting nutrients from different kinds of food. But if you're eating maybe a monotonous diet, the chances of iron deficiency anemia is higher, because the nutrients you're getting from one food can be so much, can be so little, really. What can you get from just eating maybe rice every single day? So, but what if you are varying your diet once in a while and adding vegetables, making it balanced? Then and only then can you say, okay, today I ate beans with vegetables, today rice with vegetables, dried fish, even your pap, you try to make your pap as rich as you can, add a little palm oil, add some dried fish, just regardless. I understand that, there's a hike in food prices. I'm very fully aware of this in Nigeria, right? But it's making the best out of what you have, right? That helps to reduce the risk of iron deficiency anemia, as well as any other nutrient deficiency you can think of.
Truly, healthy eating is not about being eating expensive. Thank you so much, Uju Onourah, registered dietitian and nutritionist, for your time and expertise on homegrown solutions to ending anemia in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right, you are most welcome. Sound Health continues with trending health report from around the world. Please stay tuned. No one should suffer anemia as a result of ignorance or money. Boost your blood count, have a better PCV, eat right for a healthier nation. This is where we say thank you on today's episode of Sound Health. For comments and inquiries, or you have topics you'd like us to treat, please send SMS to 08035826603 or follow us on social media at Lagos Television, #Sound Health. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.